Good evening. It is the 5th of April 2024 and warm welcome to our main news broadcast. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. LUSAKA'S CHILENJE market traders threaten to stop paying market levy. Economist warns against over-dependence in export tracking framework. Healing World Ministries and Camnet TV to host mentor seminar Saturday. In international news, IMF working on support for drought-hit African countries. And in sports news, boxers weigh in ahead of Saturday's Oriental QUARRIES boxing tournament. I will be back with the details after this break.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
And now the news in detail. LUSAKA'S CHILENJE market traders have vowed not to pay council levy in protest of street vendors outside the facility that have taken over business. Speaking in separate interviews, the aggrieved traders say they sell as less as 17 kwacha in a day as vendors are selling along the roads. One of the traders, Gertrude Siangwa, laments that the main market shelter has enough space to accommodate all the vendors who are outside, further encouraging them to move into the facility. Meanwhile, CHILENJE Ward Councillor Ruben Mwenye says the council is aware of the rampant vending outside the market and will soon move in to correct the situation as the culprits were already notified.
The empty trading stands are not difficult to see. This is the state of most parts of LUSAKA'S CHILENJE market, where some traders have opted to conduct street vending instead of trading in the shelter. The situation has left those inside the market starved of business despite paying market levy to the Lusaka City Council LCC. Now the traders are threatening to stop paying market levy until the situation is rectified by the local authority.
So if you have no market, once the camera shop, kubazambo lipira muno ya musongo kuliba zambo lipira twacha kuti bapanja nje bagulisa ba market sibagulisa ba market kuliba wamenya agulisa ugulisa muno komboka na 17 kwacha ulipira kiri kwacha musongo era nanga bana basaje acha yalimo muno tiri bangono olobanga ngene muno mukati malo stimu ya zasala matebo ni yambiri bamene bali panja pa ni bangono olobangene muno mukati malo stimu ya zasala matebo mwamene mwaonera yonsayo yali free.
Grant Mwika is among the leaders in the market and discloses to this reporter that the facility has enough trading spaces to accommodate all the vendors.
More than 300 spaces which can accommodate those people. And my spaces yazasa, according to their views, the way they have said, they really want those people to come in CHILENJE market. And the other thing, those who are trading like for Salaula, even at Salaula spaces, we have more spaces, including a chicken side.
Meanwhile, CHILENJE Ward Councillor Ruben Mwenya says his office is aware of the complaints by the traders at the market.
And I still want to reassure them, just the way the Minister of Health and Minister of Local Government had assured them that those that were trading outside the market were supposed to go back in the market because there are quite a number of open spaces, stands that are free.
Mr. Mwenya since warned the vendors to move into the market before it's too late, as their actions are now threatening the revenue base of the Lusaka City Council.
It is not a matter of debate or whatever it is, because the ministers, 2 ministers, already gave a directive for those people to go back in the market. And I believe Council is just trying to put logistics together to make sure that those people are taken back in the market. It will be up to them. I want to warn them that they move freely into the market. If not, they will lose their items because notices were already given and notices have expired.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Residents of Lusaka have expressed concern over unreasonable conditions of some loan service providers in the country. Speaking in separate interviews, the residents say some loan providers are attaching conditions which allow them to buy or sell their clients' collateral. Recently, the Bank of Zambia advised the public to desist from the tendency of borrowing money from unlicensed financial service providers, stating that the entities make people enter into strange arrangements.
A loan is a sum of money that is lent to another party on the premises that it would be paid back later has agreed to the terms and conditions. In many cases, the lender adds interest to the value of the loan, which the borrower must repay in a specific time frame. In many cases, the lender adds interest to the value of the loan, which the borrower must repay in a specific time frame. Some residents of Lusaka have appealed to government to shut down certain loan service providers in communities with strange terms and conditions. Lusaka resident Ivan Sinkuni explains the challenges of the former financial service providers, citing the detrimental effect to the public. Mr. Nkuni highlights that the loan service providers aim at making money from unreasonable terms and conditions, leading to the people losing their assets due to failure of repayments.
At the end, for example, you agreed for 6 months. Now 6 months elapses. Now for them, they will not agree or they will not understand. So as a result,
and then ukalipia ndo amande pameanza kukuizia kapena suzalipia nishi vide vintu za vitinga once.
And Matthew Zimbewe emphasizes the need to close down some of the financial service providers, citing that they tend to harass their clients while others are subjected to emotional stress.
Government ifuna kongera because of what? Bantu futi wangara vuti bavutikiratu. Mwaona baja bantu bashiramo benefit. Sometimes zima ona mungati baja bantu. Those are spiritual. Baja bakonka baja bantu bovutika. Mwaona ka? Baja bantu bovutika ndio nakonka baja maningi. Mwaona ka? Because kairunza dabati muntu ndovutika zafuna tutenge ka loan ona kandamba kangono. Nakacha kandamba kanoni nako kacha wazatengeratu. Mwaona ni pressure ijafuti. So muntu akatenga loan mwandini. Otherwise baja funu ka take government ingene. Makawala baja.
Bavali sida chetu makampani.
Don't say.
Yosunga tenga mpili mtu akwatenge fridge ni singa.
At interest ya chana ne.
Then futu akatenga fridge ndio gulisa.
Mwaona. So ni maona monga tukuruvu ni 2 muri baja bantu amaro.
Sunge atoka litanzama akakuwezea.
The Bank of Zambia Assistant Director of Regulatory Policy, Licensing and Liquidation, Kelvin Havasonde, says the general public should desist borrowing money from fraudulent financial service providers, disclosing that they make people sign into strange agreements.
Collateral in a manner that is agreed when you start to default. Whereas in these other instances where you are dealing with unlicensed financial institutions, they make you sign an agreement in advance that you sell your house, you sell your car if you fail to pay. Now that is not ideal because the purpose of borrowing is not really to lose your assets, but to be able to augment your economic activity if you are borrowing for business or to undertake certain activities while you maintain your assets as it were. So it is important that even if we are desperate, we must not worsen our own situation by going to unlicensed financial institutions.
Timely indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, you may send.
Prudence Jibwe for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Mongo's Nakato residents are appealing to the local authority through the Constituency Development Fund to construct staff houses at Nakato Primary School. Speaking to Camnet News in Nakato area, One of the residents, Spencer Simata, says the lack of staff accommodation at the school is demotivating teachers as they are preoccupied with accommodation issues. Nalikwanda Member of Parliament, Konwa Simunji, has since assured the residents and stakeholders that the concern will be addressed promptly. In other news, the Lusaka City Council LCC Audit Committee has warned members of the public planning to loot the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, through unlicensed skills training centers. Recently, the committee unearthed the scam involving a named unregistered training school with 500 students which fraudulently benefited from CDF. Speaking in an interview, LCC Audit Committee Chairman Mainda Simata says CDF is closely monitored through different departments and all those on this route will be found out and prosecuted.
Talking about transparency and accountability, there are systems within the CDF Act itself that prescribe how this fund is to be dispersed and the qualifications for those particular schools that that are entrusted with training people or students in these particular skills. So we do not know the extent of the thoroughness or the vetting that this particular institution was subjected to, and that is why, as audit committee, we want to constitute a joint operation to not only look at the qualification of this particular institution, but also to ask ourselves whether the guidelines really followed and was a visitation made to that particular school by the CDF committee to ensure to say that this particular school really exists and the courses that is purporting to be offering are registered and approved under TAVETA, because that is the bottom line in terms of skills courses. All institutions that offer skills courses have to be affiliated to.
Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, Elias Muvanga, has committed to support DESACARE and Z Vision Mount Papers Cooperative in its quest to refurbish old hospital beds and wheelchairs. The initiative is aimed to support persons with disabilities in the country. Speaking when he toured the DESACARE Wheelchair Center, Mr. Muvanga underscored the importance of supporting such undertakings to spearhead development in the country. Meanwhile, DESACARE Board Chairperson Lucy Kasanga has expressed gratitude to government for the commitment to support its initiative.
People living with disabilities often face barriers to employment and economic empowerment. However, with appropriate support and resources, they can contribute significantly to society. One such avenue which has been utilized by DESACARE and Z Vision Multipurpose Cooperative is the refurbishing of old hospital beds and wheelchairs, which not only benefits the disabled community, but also addresses the critical need for accessible healthcare equipment. The joint project between the two organizations is one initiative that has supported people living with disabilities, including a basketball team which has been aided with some wheelchairs. However, the project initiative faces immense challenges owing to the lack of funding to buy state-of-the-art equipment that will enable the two organizations increase their production capacity. Speaking when he toured the DESACARE Wheelchair Center to appreciate the challenges being faced by people living with disabilities, Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Development, Elias Muvanga, pledged government support in growing the initiative.
Here to go and first tour the workshop that you are able to repair, refurbish as well the wheelchairs, and especially with the partnership with ZD Vision to work on the absolute finished beds at the hospital and bring the beds to life like that. That's amazing. That's good. And from the business model of view, because I'm Minister for Business, what I'm seeing there is a business, and this business must be sustainable.
Meanwhile, DSAKEA board chairperson Lucy Kasanga has thanked government for the support being rendered to the initiative.
You can see our zeal for trying to take care of our environment. So recycling is very, very passionate, something we've always wanted to do. And with Z Vision, we are able to make the frame for the desks, and they're able to supply the desktop and the sitting tops. And I hear now we are looking at, I can assure you, Honorable Minister, the team at DSAKEA has been trained clinically to provide for things that are suitable.
Z Vision Multipurpose Cooperative Chairperson Mark Manjereka noted the importance of government support in including people living with disabilities in their development agenda.
In the case of Lusaka, we see a lot of our brothers and sisters who are living with disabilities asking for arms. And so we realize that this is not sustainable. There's something that our brothers and sisters that are living with disabilities can do productively and be able to earn income in a decent manner than depending on handouts of 2 kwachas, 5 kwachas, 10 kwachas, and sometimes 15 ways. So that is how now we came to ask DSAKEA to partner with Z Vision so that we can help them in the area of enhancing their efficiency in the production of the products that they have.
And in a surprising turn of events, the minister further pledged to buy a car for one of the basketball players and wheelchairs for the basketball team after showcasing their skills on the pitch.
Yeah, but that is good, eh? Yeah. That's what record that. Yeah. Your request will be granted, madam.
Thank you. At what the ministers preached, it has made me so happy because I wasn't expecting what has happened. Firstly, for him to make a preach, he first watched the game which we had and he got interest.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Spirit of Faith Ministries founder Dr. Evans Piri has called for measures that will effectively address cases of mental health illnesses in the country. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Dr. Piri underscored the importance of embracing victims of mental health to prevent the aftermath effects such as suicide and depression. He adds that with advancing technology, medical professionals are able to easily address mental health problems, urging members of the public to seek help if need arises. Dr. Piri was speaking ahead of tomorrow's one-day mental health seminar at Healing Word Ministries Church in Lusaka.
When you look at how fast technology is moving, it seems as though our mind and body is having a difficult time to catch up at the rate at which life is moving. As a result, our mental faculties are being challenged from right and left. However, we have to do something about it because our destinies are at stake. Our legacies are being fought. And then the church has to rise up and do what it can, as well as the professional bodies who can deal with the mind on a level that we can't deal with. We deal with the spiritual, but we also have to allow the professionals in the fields of the psychiatrists and people that have studied psychology to come in together with the church and create a holistic environment. So I'm urging every one of us in our families. We do have people that are mentally challenged and people that are facing different situations. This is a summit for us. This is a summit where we can come and gather information, learn how to deal with them, learn how we can engage them, possibly into positive things, and see what can be done at the end of the day mental issues are not a one-day thing. It's a lifelong process sometimes, and the support that you receive is what determines whether you participate or not. It also determines whether you win or not. We have a situation that the government has talked about. Thousands are being admitted in these mental.
Still on mental health, in the studio, we're now joined by Professor Michael Munkumba, and I'll be having a brief discussion with him surrounding issues to do with mental wellness. Good evening.
Good evening, Maria.
Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so just to set the ball rolling, can you provide an overview of the current state of mental health in the country?
Well, the state of mental wellness can easily be deduced from the effects of bad mental wellness. I mean, for instance, issues like substance abuse,
yes,
depressions, anger mismanagement, or just rage, the state of divorces in the country, the injuries that we are witnessing, including deaths, or just people being generally toxic, just not so good to be around. It can extend to low productivity at work, where people simply don't put in their best. And today is Friday, and if you drive home and see the cars parked around drinking dens, and that tells you people are trying to drown themselves into beer or alcohol to kind of escape from the challenges of the state of their mental wellness. So we can tell how the state is by just the effects that we observe. Okay. And so if you ask me that question, what's the state of mental health or mental wellness, I'll say it's not good.
Okay. So from the challenges and some of the causes that you've mentioned here, how can people seek support?
Yeah, I mean, church is one. And no wonder we are holding this at a church, because one can get counseling in church. One can go to institutions that offer this kind of help. But I am more interested in, because I see mental wellness as affecting more people than it tends to be believed. We will be able to talk about statistics tomorrow and perhaps later on in a moment. But issues of having mentors, just having a mentor who speaks into your life, or someone you can go and lean on, may help prevent what eventually becomes a big problem. Even just knowing or learning what not to say, what not to do, or what to do more of, all those things can help and go a long way. But these are things we'll be going deeper into tomorrow in the conference.
Okay.
Yes.
With that being said, is there a specific group of people or region that are vulnerable to mental health, or maybe it's just the adults?
And this is a very important question, because particularly in Zambia, you tend to see that people feel maybe there are those who are predisposed to this, and that may be true. But the reality is, when I'm driving, I often tell people that virtually almost everybody on the road, it's just a question of magnitude. They are having some challenge of sorts, and it's not difficult to tell. Of course, from statistics, we know that in some jurisdiction, it is said that women are twice likely to suffer from major depression than men, and that women are 3 times more likely than men to experience common mental health problems. Yet, 4 times as many men than women commit suicide. I will repeat that. 4 times as many men than women are likely to commit suicide. So if you like, it's a mixed grill. Yes, there are those who are predisposed. Maybe while in the womb of their mother, certain things were done. The mother drank things, did things, and so the baby is born with a certain predisposition. So we can say there are people like that, there are clusters like that. But when you look at the general population, it's a mixed grill. Anyone, especially post-pandemic, anybody can suffer from mental stress. Anybody can have their mental wellness compromised because of the environment they are in.
Okay. Now, we often hear about the stigma surrounding mental health. So how can this situation be resolved in the context of providing health care?
And that's also another important question, because stigma, and particularly in the African setting, stigma is a huge thing. And it can happen at many levels. It can happen at this individual level. So you can have individual stigma, just yourself. You can suffer from individual stigma about what you are going through. There is a family level stigma or family driven stigma. You can have societal driven stigma. You can even have healthcare provider driven stigma. Now, this is unfortunate, but it does happen. But how can you deal with stigma? One way is exactly what we are doing tomorrow in the conference. Talk about it, demystify it, discuss it, bring it out in the open, and people begin to realize it's a common problem, because statistics tell us that 1 in 5 Zambians suffer from a mental challenge. So it's a very common thing. Meet 5 people along the road, one of them might be facing a major mental challenge, but you will not know it because they will not seek help, they will not go to an institution, they are still walking on the road, they are still going to work, but they are having challenges. So talk about it and just create awareness, and knowledge empowers.
Okay. Now, what are some of the self-care practices that individuals can incorporate into their daily lives to maintain good mental health?
Well, self-care has to do with doing things that help you live better, live well, physically, mentally. So those are things we'll also go into a lot. So issues of stress. How can I handle stress? What are the coping mechanisms? And then how do I balance my life in this crazy world where there's so much busyness? How can I integrate my life? How do I balance family, work, what have you? So many things that are demanding your time. How to balance that? And then, of course, how to practice mental awareness, and how can I avoid negativity? When everywhere I look, people are negative, news is negative, TV is negative. How can I avoid that? So these are issues we will be going into tomorrow. How do you love yourself? The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How can I love myself? And without becoming self-obsessed or narcissistic or just outrightly selfish. How can I still practice beautiful self-love and live well?
Okay. Now, lastly, I know you've actually highlighted more of what the attendees will actually, expect the people that will be attending the seminar tomorrow. Maybe just as we come to the end of the interview, can you briefly explain more on what the attendees can anticipate on what they should expect in the seminar tomorrow?
Thank you. I think 4 things. First, there will be experts in the field, so expect those experts in the field tomorrow. That's the first one. And they'll be able to explain a lot of things to us. Number 2, expect to be empowered. As I said earlier, empowerment really liberates. Knowledge liberates, and it's powerful. So expect that. Expect to walk away empowered. And number 3, to make you, become your brother's or sister's keeper. Because there are many of us who probably at home you have a brother, a sister, or even yourself, and you're facing a challenge. You don't know what to do about it. You will learn tomorrow. And finally, be able to face this very intractable issue of mental wellness and mental health. And in an environment where it is stigmatized, this is a beautiful occasion where you can come, get empowered, get exposed, and walk away sure and confident that you can face this.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming through.
My pleasure.
Okay. Now, that was Professor Michael Munkumba, and he's one of the speakers you expect to hear from tomorrow at the one-day mental health seminar to be held here at Healing World Ministries. We now take our first set of commercials. I will be back with more news after the break.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Are you perplexed about how to overcome the financial, psychological, and mental health challenges around you? Well, worry no more, because help is here. The Healing Word Ministries International, in conjunction with Camnet TV, cordially invites the general public to a one-day seminar on mental health challenges and mental wellness solutions for individuals, families, the church, and society. Speakers include Dr. William Perry, President, Mental Health Association of Zambia; Dr. George Tafuna, psychotherapist, Chainame National Mental Health Hospital; Mr. Friday Salamo, Senior Mental Health Officer, the Ministry of Health; Professor Michael Munkumba, Executive Mentor and Life Coach, Mihachi Group; Bishop Peter Tanda Molenga, Presiding Bishop, Christian Word Center International; Pastor Lizzie Dakambozi, President, Aglo International; and Dr. Evans Perry from the Spirit of Faith Ministries. The venue is at the Healing Word Ministries International Church in Ibex Hill, Lusaka, on the 6th of April 2024 from 0830 hours to 17 hours at only 250 kwacha all round, food inclusive. Guest artist Ruben Kabwe and Bro Oswald. Dr. Nevis Mumba will be our guest of honor for this event.
Like a rush of a mighty wind, the Holy Ghost descended upon the 120.
You can get your tickets from Camnet office in Ibex Hill between 08 hours and 17 hours, or you can buy via mobile money on 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. For more details, you can call 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. Don't miss. See you there.
Thank you for staying with us. We'll now continue with more news. The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, has collected 339 million kwacha in the first quarter of 2024, representing 1.2% above performance target. ZRA Acting Commissioner, Business Facilitation, Richard Kapasa, says the total gross revenue in 2023 grew by 9.7%, while the total net collection stood at 11.4%. He was speaking during the mini-summit organized by the Economic Association of Zambia under the theme, Creating a New Path for Economic Development Post-Debt Restructuring in Lusaka.
The Economic Association of Zambia, Friday, April 5th, held a mini-summit under the theme, Creating a New Path for Economic Development Post-Debt Restructuring in Lusaka. Speaking at the summit, Zambia Revenue Authority Acting Commissioner Richard Kapasa highlighted that the authority collected 10 billion from tax compliance activities in 2023 and achieved 90.8% taxpayer satisfaction. Mr. Kapasa says ZRA's total gross revenue in 2023 grew by 9.7% relative to what was recorded in 2022.
Revenue grew by 9.7% relative to 2022. The net collections in 2023 were 11.4% above the 2022 collections. Big achievement when we crossed 2023 because we crossed the 100 billion collection mark. So our target was 103, but then we crossed the 100 billion, we collected slightly over 100.
The commissioner reviews that ZRA in 2024 targets to collect a total of 125.3 billion, a 19.7% of gross domestic product, and that ZRA's target has steeply risen, increasing by 111.1% since 2021. He adds that ZRA hopes for a future where all business processes are simplified by leveraging on technology and data to enhance service delivery and promote compliance.
ZRA is expected to collect 125.3 billion or 19.7% of GDP. This is a growth of 21.5% from the 2023 target. Over the past few years, ZRA's target has steeply risen, increasing by 111.1% relative to 2021. Processes by leveraging on technology and data to enhance service delivery and promote compliance. And lastly, the right people. We are focusing on having committed, competent, and high-performing workforce.
Meanwhile, ZRA facilitator on tax compliance, Ms. Miriam Sali, has urged members of the public to pay tax on time if the authority is to meet its target.
Time to negotiate. It's not a time to bribe an officer for a tax clearance. No, just make sure that you have a clean taxpayer account, simple and very easy to follow. So this is a tool that you can get a tax clearance when you want to trade easily. Then just good reputation. I think having a good image is quite good. And you also access certain tax incentives and schemes such as VAT deferment, cash accounting. Remember, I also talked about the advanced income tax. So you can easily get some of these incentives when you are tax compliant.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Energy Regulation Board, ERB, says the current shortage of diesel being experienced in some parts of the country is owing to logistical challenges being faced by some oil marketing companies. ERB Public Relations Manager Namukolo Kasumpa says the country has sufficient petroleum products to cover the national requirements. Ms. Kasumpa says the board will continue engaging oil marketing companies to carry out random surveillance and inspections of filling stations in the country to ensure that no filling station is deliberately hoarding the commodity to prevent artificial shortage.
The Energy Regulation Board wishes to assure members of the public that it is aware of and regrets the intermittent supply of diesel currently being experienced at some filling stations in some parts of the country. The board undertakes routine fuel stocks monitoring countrywide, working in collaboration with Tazama, Indeni, and oil marketing companies to ensure a reliable and continuous fuel supply chain. As at 4th April 2024, the country had enough diesel and petrol in various depots and retail sites countrywide to cover the national requirements of the petroleum products. The purported localized shortage of fuel may be as a result of logistical challenges by some oil marketing companies to supply their retail sites that may not have the product. However, the ERB continues to engage with oil marketing companies and carry out the random surveillance inspections of filling stations in the country to ensure that no filling station is deliberately holding fuel, which generally leads to an artificial shortage of the commodity. We remain committed to working diligently to prevent any fuel shortages or disruptions, and will continue to monitor the fuel supply situation and maintain communication with the public.
Economist Trevor Hambai has warned against over-dependence on the export proceeds tracking framework to stabilize the kwacha, as the tool is not enough to improve the local currency. In an interview, Mr. Hambai recalls the importance of the country to improve on its export revenue in order to achieve a stabilized exchange rate. Meanwhile, Mr. Hambai has attributed the current kwacha appreciation to debt restructuring and the Mopani deal, whose positive impact he predicts to be short-term.
On January 1st, 2024, the Bank of Zambia implemented the Export Proceeds Tracking Framework. The framework involves the interface of electronic balance of payments monitoring system. Under the framework, all exporters will be required to route export earnings through an account at a bank in Zambia while retaining full control, or use the funds as they deem fit, and continue to meet the existing obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Full payment of export proceeds will have to be reflected in such accounts within 3 months from the date of export, in line with the validity period for the documentation required for import tax claim under the value-added tax. The framework is intended to enhance the compilation of balance of payment statistics by expanding the coverage of external sector statistics, particularly relating to the capture of data on the utilization of export earnings and information on balance held abroad by resident enterprises and other financial account flows. Over the last 3 months, economists have disclosed that the framework will help the country stabilize the kwacha's exchange rate. But economist Trevor Hambai says on its own, the framework is not enough to improve the exchange rate of the kwacha. He says the country needs to improve on its export revenue in order to achieve a stabilized exchange rate.
Monitoring framework is not the only factor that drives the issue around the appreciation. There are also other factors. But remember, the export monitoring framework was implemented to try and increase the revenue that the country is generating from export. And all the revenue that we generate from export is actually accounted in the country. And this is important. What we need to do as a country is increase our export revenue to create a positive positive trade surplus. This is what is going to create a stability in our exchange rate. And one of the things to do is to ensure that the revenue we generate outside is booked in the country. So we actually do need this. The country, what we need to do is to ensure that we are generating more revenue than we are importing, because this is what creates stability. The issue of the kwacha appreciating or depreciating is negative to everybody. Is that what you want to have is a consistent exchange rate, irrespective of where it is, whether it's at 21 kwacha or 25 kwacha. You want it to remain there for the long term, like for 2 years, for a year, because then this allows us to be able to plan.
Mr. Hambai also says that the current appreciation of the kwacha is influenced by the debt restructuring and Mopani deals the country has achieved recently.
The confirmation of the debt restructuring, this has created international perspective, and this has also driven a positive attitude in our exchange rate, that the kwacha actually appreciated. The other factor that you will see in a couple of days, that by the 10th of April, is that all the mining companies will be required to be able to pay in their taxes. And this is also going, because they convert hard currency from the mining sector to kwacha. This is also going to create a positive inflow of hard currency, and you will see a continued appreciation in the short term.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Kawe District Commissioner Renox Shimwamba says government's intervention to stabilize meal prices is yielding results in the area. Speaking when United Party for National Development UPND National Trustee Grace Chivobe paid a courtesy call at his office, Mr. Shimwamba says meal being supplied by the Zambia Correctional Service and Zambia National Service, Kalonga and Eagles brands respectively is enough. The district commissioner claims the opposition have been trying to sabotage government's effort by sponsoring some youths to buy meal in bulk and create artificial shortages.
You can get 48 kg bags of meal once it's taken to a hammer mill. So that is very progressive for us. Secondly, also we have Kalonga milling as well as Eagles milling. These are state-owned milling companies by NCZ, National Service, as well as Correctional Service. The price of the milling meal we're delivering to Kabwe and other districts within the province is 230 kwacha for a 25 kg bag of breakfast and 210 for a roller meal bag. The opposition, I must confirm, ma'am, they have been trying to water down these achievements. As a result, they have been sending some of our youth in ShopRite, some of our youth in Choppies to line up. They give them 5 kwachas. Once they give them these 5 kwachas, they round up this meal to create artificial shortages. But that we have been on the ground ourselves together with the party leadership. Also to report to you, ma'am, that we have also empowered a lot of youth and a lot of women as agents to sell the milling meal, which is from ZNS as well as Kalonga milling. It's providing employment. It is providing an opportunity to have something.
We now take our last break. I will be back with some international stories as well as sports news. Stay tuned.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
Are you perplexed about how to overcome the financial, psychological and mental health challenges around you? Well, worry no more, because help is here. The Healing Word Ministries International, in conjunction with Camnet TV, cordially invites the general public to a one-day seminar on mental health challenges and mental wellness solutions for individuals, families, the church and society. Speakers include Dr. William Perry, President, Mental Health Association of Zambia; Dr. George Tafuna, psychotherapist, Chainame National Mental Health Hospital; Mr. Friday Salamo, Senior Mental Health Officer, the Ministry of Health; Professor Michael Munkumba, Executive Mentor and Life Coach, Mihachi Group; Bishop Peter Tanda Molenga, Presiding Bishop, Christian Word Center International, Pastor Lizzie Dakambozi, President, Aglo International, and Dr. Evans Perry from the Spirit of Faith Ministries. The venue is at the Healing Word Ministries International Church in Ibex Hill, Lusaka, on the 6th of April 2024 from 0830 hours to 17 hours at only 250 kwacha all round, food inclusive. Guest artist Ruben Kabwe and Bro Oswald. Dr. Neves Mumba will be our guest of honor for this event.
Like a rush of a mighty wind, the Holy Ghost descended upon the 120.
You can get your tickets from Camnet office in Ibex Hill between 08 hours and 17 hours, or you can buy via mobile money on 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. For more details, you can call 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. Don't miss. See you there.
In international news, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, says it is assessing the impact of a deep drought in Africa and working on ways to provide support to the affected countries. It comes as several African countries declared national emergencies over drought. Julie Kozak, Communications Director, International Monetary Fund, IMF, said on Thursday in a press conference that the IMF has, over the last several years and a decade, seen an increased frequency on climate shocks globally. For this and other international stories, we monitored African news.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says it is assessing the impact of a deep drought in Africa and working on ways to provide support to the affected countries. It comes as several African countries declared national emergencies over drought. I think it's important to start by saying that we have seen over the last several years and decade an increased frequency of climate shocks globally, and Africa has been particularly hard hit by these climate shocks, and we see this, of course, happening now with these droughts in Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Zambia. East Africa, in particular, is facing its worst drought in 40 years, caused by a lack of rainfall.
These dancers are learning the highly choreographed Amaraba dance. It is one of Rwanda's most famous traditional ceremonial dances. Eric Rukondo, a 29-year-old dance coach, works at this local youth club in Kigali. He has been passing his knowledge on to younger people in the country, which marks this year the 30th commemoration of the 1994 genocide. Most of these young people here are under 30 years old. They are here because of their talent, not because of their ethnicity. It is a very ethnically diverse group, and this is not an issue for them. They are past that. This Rwandan culture unites them. Eric believes that such grassroots efforts will help future generations break the ethnic barriers and live as one people of Rwanda. During the 100-day massacre of 1994, over 800,000 Rwandans were slaughtered by radicalized Hutus.
Rwanda has struggling while fighting each other, killing each other, but keeping peace means to understand each other and try to communicate in the way that everyone will gain efficiently instead of trying to be selfish and greedy. That is what I understand by peace.
Many of Eric's students say that having their culture passed down to them as one people will play a major role in preventing tragic events. Delicious for some, simply inedible for others. These are bottles of habushu, an alcoholic rice drink from Japan, which is made with poisonous snakes. This one a tomato soup with a sheep's eyes on top from Mongolia. A Berlin museum is dedicated to showing cultural differences when it comes to cuisine and explores the idea of taste and cultural preferences. There are 6 different basic emotions, and disgust is one of them. It is said that it is the first instance of the immune system, because the brain will let you know when something could contain a disease or when it is something that you shouldn't think is a food. Then you feel disgust. That is for you to avoid compromising your health. So, in that way, disgust is an important feeling. A food smell can also provoke disgust. European cheese, fermented fish or fruits are on display at the museum. This is the durian fruit. It is a delicacy from the Asian region. You can both smell it and try it here in the museum. Durian is banned on some airlines because it has such a strong odor that it is not even allowed to be transported.
Schmeckt so eine Mischung aus Ananas und Zwiebeln, ist nicht jedermanns Sache, aber wer sie einmal probiert hat, wird den Geschmack nicht vergessen.
Here we have coriander. You're probably wondering why it's in our exhibition. Coriander is a completely normal herb, often used in Asian cuisine. The reason we have it in our exhibition is because we found it interesting that scientific research is being carried out into whether there is a genetic relation to whether coriander is ever perceived as a spice or as a herb, or whether people think it has a very strong and salty flavor. Each year, around 20,000 people visit the exhibition. Many are tourists, but there are also school classes and some wanting to know about so-called future foods like insects. The Disgusting Food Museum in Germany's capital is open weekly, Fridays to Tuesdays.
The much-anticipated Oriental QUARRIES International Boxing Tournament is set for tomorrow, 6th April 2024. Speaking at the weigh-in ceremony in Lusaka, Oriental Series Boxing Promotion Manager Christopher Malunga says the boxing tournament being held at Government Complex in Lusaka will have 8 matches, among them 2 championship title fights. The main event of the tournament, the Batnam Weight International ABU Championship title match, will see Zambia's David Mwale and Kenya's James Mingeni exchange blows in return for the title. Meanwhile, the Super Batnam Weight International ABU Championship title fight will see Zambia's Gracious Simwalizi exchange face-off against Malawi's Hassan Malizi in return for the championship title.
Euphoria will tomorrow, 6th April 2024, characterize boxing fans at Government Complex as the highly anticipated Oriental Boxing QUARRIES International Tournament kicks off. The tournament, scheduled to have 8 matches, will have 2 electrifying title fights that will guarantee boxing fans a good round of entertainment. The main event of the tournament will see reigning champion David Mwale of Zambia exchange blows with challenger James Mingeni of Kenya in a 12-round matchup of the Bantamweight International ABU Championship title. Meanwhile, in the co-main event, Gracious Simwalizi of Zambia will face off Hassan Milinzi of Malawi in the Super Bantamweight International ABU Championship title. At a media briefing in Lusaka, Oriental Series Boxing Promotions Manager Christopher Malunga says the fights will be intense as the boxers put in their A game during the training.
Because I've seen even some boxers are dodging from him. He's a serious boxer, and also this Harvey is a very good boxer also. It took a very good fight for the two fighters. And the referees are John Spanuka, Judge 1, Mebin Kante, Judge 2, Mebo Mlenga, Judge 3, Morgan Mwenya, and timekeeper Frank Mutali. Alik Mgala is MC, Dr. Banda, Dr. Zulu will be doctors. Commissioner Kanel Kaluf Manza. Bout number 5, Clever Stole versus Roy Yuda. Referee Morgan Mwenya, Judge John Spanuka, Judge 2, Mebin Kante, Judge 3, Mebo Mlenga, timekeeper Frank Mutali, MC Alik Mgala, Commissioner Kanel Kaluf Manza, doctors, Dr. Banda, Dr. Zulu. Bout number 6, Remsimbe versus Gere Chimpapulilo. Referee Mebin Kante, Judge 1, Mebo Mlenga, Judge 2, Morgan Mwenya, Judge 3.
The tournament will also see other matches, among them the lightweight international non-title fight between Ignatius Mutale of Zambia and Zimbabwe Shungu Kapani, the super middleweight non-title fight between Clever Sitole of Zimbabwe and Roy Yuda of Malawi, and many other matches.
9 international fights. To put up 9 international bouts, that means there's a lot of investment coming in. And we are very grateful to Topstar, we are grateful to Castlebet, ZNBC, Oriental, and the main sponsor, Big Tree. Thank you very much for that sponsorship, because that sponsorship you have given us is going to make us now promote this show in a right way. And the bouts, first bout of the evening, get this clear, first bout of the evening will be involving Ignatius Mutale and the Shungu Kupani. We have can Shungu Kupani and the Ignatius Mutale stand up, please? Do we have the...
Fans are eagerly waiting to see what will come out of the 2 most looked out for matches, as well as the other 6 matches, but tomorrow will determine the fate of the boxers in line. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
That item brings us to the end of our main news for tonight. Here's a recap of the stories making headlines. LUSAKA'S CHILENJE market traders threaten to stop paying market levy. Economist warns against overdependence in export tracking framework. Healing Word Ministries and Camnet TV to host a mental health seminar on Saturday. In international news, IMF working on support for drought-hit African countries. And in sports news, boxers weigh in ahead of Saturday's Oriental QUARRIES boxing tournament. Our verse of the day is coming from the book of Colossians 3, verse 15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night.